Hey guys, it's Victoria. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing an updated video on how to build an apex with Polygel. So we're going to be doing this nail set from start to finish. We're going to start with the prep. So the first thing you want to do with your bare nails is use the cuticle pusher. Just gently push back the skin. And then you want to use the opposite end to scrape up any of the dead tissue left on the nail plate. Next, we want to remove the shine and put some scratches in the nail. So you can either use these bits if you are using an e-file or a hand file. On the left of the screen, I'm going to be using the e-file. I'm using that needle bit just to get around the cuticle first. Then I'm using a sanding band to remove the shine from the entire nail. And if you're doing a hand file, you want to use the softer side. So once that's done, I'm using some tips. I'm just gluing them on. These are the Macart Pump Up nail tips. And I'm going to cut these down to the length that I want. Of course, you guys can cut these down to as long or as short as you want, and you can shape them at this point as well. I wanted to keep them coffin, but once you have them to the perfect shape, you just want to remove the shine. Again, I showed you both versions. The entire hand is done, so let's go ahead and do our prep and prime. So first we're going to dehydrate the nails. If you don't have a dehydrator, you could definitely use alcohol. And next I'm using my primer. These are both from Mia Secret, by the way. Primer is optional. If you do all the other prep steps well, you don't need one, but I do recommend getting one if you're able to. After base coat is on, we're going to go ahead and get into the actual set. So I'm using this Macart 335 Nude Polygel. I have my slip solution, which is alcohol, and then I also have my polygel brush. So let's talk about what an apex is before we start. The apex area is the thickest area of the nail, and it should be right where the stress area is. The stress point is where the nail would possibly break if there's enough pressure applied to it. So the structure of a nail should be thin at the cuticle, thick in the middle where the apex is, and then it should thin out towards the edge. So I love these pictures, and here's another one that you can pause and look at it yourself. I just want to include it for you guys. And we're gonna go ahead and start. So the best way to do this, especially as a beginner, is to split up the nail into two different sections. We're going to be using two beads. One is the tip bead and then the other one's the cuticle bead. So this tip bead, we're just going to place it on the nail. I moved it from side to side before I started bringing it up to the tip, but you just want to fit it to that coffin shape or whatever shape you chose to do. I'm removing any excess, and then I'm flipping my hand over because it's a little more comfortable for me, and I'm just going to smooth down that bottom lip of product. This doesn't have to be perfect, it's going to get covered up, but this is going to allow us to split up the application into two different parts so that we don't feel overwhelmed trying to complete the entire nail. So again, on my middle finger, just going side to side and then bringing that product up and down. I promise you this is the easiest way to go about it, to make sure that you have that product on the entire width of the nail before you start extending it up and down. I do want to mention that when I cure the tip bead, I only cure it for about 15 seconds. What we want to do is freeze that top layer in place so that we can then work on the cuticle bead, which we'll be doing in a second. Once you start to get the hang of it, you can save on time by doing multiple tip beads at the same time. I don't recommend doing the cuticle beads at the same time, but definitely the tip beads if you feel comfortable with that. So now we're going to move on to the cuticle area. I place the product where I want the thickest point of the nail to be. Now I'm going to press that bead from sidewall to sidewall, which is just the sides of your nail. Now I'm going to take the very bottom of that bead and bring it down to the cuticle. You want to do this in thin amounts. You really don't want to flood the cuticle with too much product. You don't want to get any on the skin, so you want to only bring down a small amount and then thin it out as much as you possibly can. I kept this part of the video in real time so you guys can see how slow I'm working. I'm doing this for demonstration purposes so that you guys can really see what's going on. But now that I have the cuticle bead all smoothed out, you can see I have a lot of product in the middle. We're going to leave all that product there and just drag the top of the bead up and then smooth it into the tip bead. So that's going to allow us to create our apex without having to use too much technique. You really just want to work on the outer edge of that bead and keep all that thickness in the middle. Once that's done and you smooth the nail out, go ahead and add any finishing touches. I needed to bring it all the way down to my sidewalls. But now you can see that the nail is thin at the cuticle, it's thicker towards the middle of the nail at that stress point, and it thins out. So I cured that. After doing the cuticle bead, I did cure it for an entire 60 seconds. And I'm going to do the same thing on my middle finger and the rest of my fingers. So I am doing it a little bit quicker now. I'm not really pausing between each motion. I'm not really taking my time like I did on my pointer finger. That was, like I said, for demonstration purposes, so you guys could really get a good view of what's going on. But once you guys start to get the hang of it, you can see that I did that really quick and it works every single time. So I'm going to let you guys watch me do that for the rest of my nails, and I'll pop in if I have any random tips. So let's talk about the cuticle area for a minute. I'm using the spatula tool to separate any product that was touching my skin. That tool gives you the perfect size thin gap so that you don't get lifting. When you have product on your skin that then gets cured, it leaves a pocket where the polygel's not adhered to your nail, which means that that pocket can grow and grow and grow and get bigger into the point where the nails are just popping off, which can really damage your nails. So this is a really important step to not have anything touching your skin. So here's what we have. We have all of them done. They're looking really good. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one off camera. I know you guys saw that transition. It looked super cool. So we're done. I did rub off the very surface of them with alcohol just to remove the stickiness. And now we're using a hand file to clean up the shape. I'm just going along the edges and bringing in that nice tapered coffin shape and making it super sharp. Now it's time to file. I am personally using my e-file, but you can use a hand file. I actually have a really detailed video on how to hand file your polygel nails, so I would go check that out if you plan on doing that. But I am going to be using this cylinder ceramic drill bit, and first I'm going around my cuticle. I'm doing this on a decently slow speed because I don't want to cut myself. Once my cuticle's all sealed up, I'm going up and down. These motions are going to help me debulk the nail, and then I'm using side to side motions to smooth out the nail from the up and down motions. And as you can see, that apex, that structure is looking so good. We're just going to go ahead and buff these up so that we get any of the scratches out, make them nice and smooth for the design afterwards. You can wash your hands after doing the filing. I just like to use alcohol and a brush. So here is the nails that I'm doing. I was inspired by this look on Instagram, and then of course there's the account that I got it from. I'm using some Savvyland black and white gel paint pots, and then I'm also using a Model 1 silver glittery gel polish. So I'm just going to be recreating the design. I'm going to be doing lots of V-shaped French tips. Here I have this little mini LED flashlight. This is from Acrylics, and I'm using this just so that I can cure the different parts of this design without having to put my nail in the entire lamp. I just want to let you guys know what was going on with the whole flashlight thing. After doing the silver and the black, I did that thin line of the white, and the middle finger and the thumb have the exact same design, so I'm just going through it really quick. Now for the pointer finger, I'm doing the same thing, but with the entire V shape being white, just filling that in. I actually did 2 coats of this. I just did the second coat off camera, and then I'm using that silver glittery gel polish to line that V shape. Okay, it's looking so good. And now I'm going to use these 3D flowers. I got this from the Attitude Shop, and I'm using this Macart rhinestone glue. It works really great. So I put a layer down, and then I'm also putting some top coat on, and then I'm going to place the flower into the wet gel. And this turned out so cute. I'm gonna pop it in the lamp. I don't have the ability to do a bunch of 3D flowers like the actual nail set did, so this was my substitution. Now I'm just top coating them all up. They're looking so good. We're gonna cuticle oil these. This is my Cusio Revitalizing Pomegranate Cuticle Oil. And here is the final look. They look so good. I'm obsessed. I've gotten so many compliments on these nails. These were actually my New Year's nails to 2022, so I love them. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and got a lot of good tips from it. That is all that I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!